Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. First, I would like to thanks to Terapin, who's invited me to join this meeting. And secondly, I want to apologize to all of you, especially for my friend from Indonesia, because it's small incident. I think it's incident. In my slide, we put Airbus 380, but not Indonesian aircraft. Maybe there's a signal that the 380 become a dreaming of Indonesian people, and hopefully not wait too long, Garuda or maybe another airline in Indonesia will carry the 380 to Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, regarding the Indonesia, the general introductions already made by Pak Emir on his presentations. I just want to inform you that now in Indonesia, our traffic carried around 60.2 million domestic and 8.15 million international passengers carried by the last year, 2011, and still having promises traffic growth in a double-digit rate. The total present traffic served by 20 scheduled airlines. I want to elaborate regarding the deregulation on the last decade, that the financial crisis in 97-98, you know that, inducing the political crisis on the national level, has devastating effect in Indonesian economy. Domestic traffic passengers carried per year fell down from 12.8 million passengers in 1997 to 7.6 million passengers, almost more than 50%, and continued drop to 6.3 million passengers in 1999. Based on the capacity evaluations result and resources provided by the private sectors, the government of Indonesia, in this case DGCA, decided to deregulate of the air transport business practices. In the year 1999, the government released the regulations that opened the establishment of new airlines, which previously closed in 1993. This policy to open the market on the air transportation business create and generate the establishment of new airlines in Indonesia. Thus, at this present year, 20 airlines servicing domestic route in Indonesia. Besides the scheduled commercial airline, there are 3 cargo specialists and 41 charter aircraft operator. In line with the regulation of the air transport business practices, one of the core instruments was the deregulations of the tariff for economic classes, which established in the year 2002. Previously, regulated tariff were replaced by the market mechanism, and the government only set up a ceiling price to protect the customer or the passenger, especially during the peak season. Since then, the airlines are allowed to set up their own tariff or the airfare for the economy classes and just file it to the government without any approval required, as long as it's still below the upper limit. The deregulations create flexibility for the airlines to formulating their tariff according to the market situations and also create the fair competitions among the players. The deregulation process of the air transport business still continues as needed. So for now, if you in Indonesia traveling by the air, the charge is the airfare, fluctuated. Sometimes you get the very, very cheap price, but during the peak seasons, you get the most expensive price. But the government monitor that the tariff must be below the ceiling price. Ladies and gentlemen, The recent development of aviation in Indonesia marked by the average growth above 15% per year for the last 3 years and carried 60.2 million domestic passengers and 8.15 international passengers for the last year, as I mentioned before. Indonesia Civil Aviation Authority are responsible for issuing the operating license, and in the year 2012, there are 20 airlines servicing 249 domestic routes, connecting 126 cities in Indonesia. On international flight, there are 10 national commercial aircraft plus 2 cargo specialists serving 20 routes connecting 13 cities in the country and 20 cities abroad. Also, there are 39 foreign airlines plus 8 cargo specialists serving 106 international routes connecting 19 cities in Indonesia and 42 cities abroad. Indonesia, as a large country, we have 233 public airports, 20 private airports, and more than 500 aerodromes serving for the light aircraft. Among those airports, 27 of them are international airports, and 5 of which will join open sky or liberalizations for the passenger traffic, and 7 airports for the air cargo or air freight liberalization in the ASEAN open sky. To serve the present traffic demands, 935 aircraft are operated under 2 categories, the AOC 121 and AOC 135. To accommodate the traffic growth, infrastructure development is a must, including the construction of new airport built directly from the greenfield, such as New Medan, which will open and operate next year, the new Lombok Airport that just opened the end of last year, and there are also so many buildings, terminal buildings, developing in several medium class of the airport. Around 20 terminal buildings development is still ongoing, and part of them is already just few months ago in services, from Banda Aceh, Pekanbaru, Padang, Palembang, up to Balikpapan, and also new international terminal buildings for Bali Airport under construction. Hopefully mid of next year will in service. Understanding that the air traffic demand will still grow significantly in the coming years, and the need of additional infrastructure capacity are imminent, the government role is fostering the aviation growth in Indonesia is crucial. Consistent with its role as a regulator, the government action will mostly cover the regulatory aspect. Major policies of the government will aim this objective. Firstly, to continue the institutional reform in order to establish a strong regulatory body. Secondly, to continue the deregulation of aviation business process and business practice to promote fair competition. Third, encouraging the airline to serve new unexplored routes, especially in the eastern part of Indonesia. Implementing the rules on consumer protection for aviation consumer as mandated by the Customer Protection Law, and together with the operators, build internal capacity and capability and exploring the strategy to face the liberalization, especially in the ASEAN region, which will commence in 2015. Ladies and gentlemen, reforming government officers from previous function as both operator and regulator to solely be a regulator is not a simple process. Continuous action is needed and must be accompanied by the strengthening of the operator, especially on self-control and self-audit capabilities in safety and security aspect to guarantee the sustainability of the air transport industry. This process of shifting activities and role of officers required continuous effort among aviation communities. The regulations on the civil aviation business practice to support the traffic growth and to guarantee the aviation business sustainability is not yet finished, and there are regulations needed to be reviewed. The new aviation law, which coming into force on 2009, covers a lot of the regulation process, including the private sector participations on the aviation business, particularly in the airport management, which needed to be break down into more implementative regulations. The government still evaluating regulations on the operator applications on dense route. As you know, in Indonesia, we have about 4 or 5 dense routes, like Jakarta to Medan, Jakarta dan Pasar, Jakarta Surabaya, Jakarta Jogja. The traffic is quite high, so we try to deregulate on that. Maybe it's not necessary to evaluate the load factor, because previously the load factor, one of the consideration when we issuing the route license to the airline, we will open. They just report. We still evaluate on that. Also, accommodation to the needs of executive jet business on scheduled flight. There are some needs. It seems that many rich people did not satisfy anymore with the big aircraft, consists business class and economy class. They now need the special jet with all executive class, and anytime, even midnight, they can fly by themselves. Just call the operator. That's become a new market for the aviation people. So we have to consider. The next procedures and documentation required for the application on the establishment of new airlines. As you know, in Indonesia, to establish new airline, we request them to have at least 5 own aircraft and 5 lease aircraft. That's the minimum. Why we do that? Because based on the past experience, when the economics fell down, the lease aircraft release back to the owner, and there's no aircraft at all in Indonesia. So that's why we push them to have minimum 5 aircraft to give the sustainability of the air transport in Indonesia, even on the bad economic. That means we can help ourselves to improve our economic situation. The other evaluation is shifting the manual services to the online services on several business permits through several gradual steps. So the flight approval, hopefully the next year, is not necessary to come to my office, but they just request online, and we will give the approval online also. That's to simplify the procedures. Thank you. Private sector participation on the airport businesses. Up to now, they know private company operated the airport in Indonesia. Because actually airport in Indonesia, or the airport business, is a low yield business, so it's not so many private sector interesting on that business. We try to encourage them to manage the airport. On the international flight issues related to the implementation of agreement with dialogue partners, we try to evaluate also. Indonesia, with scattered islands on the wide area, need reliable and sufficient air transportation with a wide range of accessibility. According to the research made by the government and the airline, Indonesia will require at least 670 routes to cover the whole area. In order to encourage the airline to serve the low-density routes, government assists the airline, who initiate serving the new pioneer routes through subsidy mechanism. The pioneer flight will gradually generate demand and someday be a fully sustaining commercial flight. It will also serve the purpose of the opening isolated area. To serve a better services to the customer provided by the airlines, government still preparing draft of the regulation concerning the air transport level of services, especially on the economic class passengers, covering pre-flight, in-flight, and post-flight procedures. The rule is needed to implement the consumer protection law in a proper way. Talking about the ASEAN liberalization, the government of Republic of Indonesia still committed to the ASEAN liberalization in 2015 while preparing the necessary regulations and documentation for it. ASEAN liberalization is imminent. However, a lot of effort and preparation are still needed. The important key point to be considered before commencing is the equality of the participant involved in the economic level, the capacity and capability to compete among the players, and also the close cooperations among the participants in order to achieve the goal of enhancing and promoting economic growth among participants. The weakest participant will suffer more than the other. In these situations, we should carefully and analyze and monitor. Therefore, we have to take proper and precise measures to reduce and minimize the disparities. Looking at the statistical data among the ASEAN countries, there are still a wide range of populations and also a wide range of GDP per capita. These situations indicate that a lot of effort still needed from the members of state to reach the goal of ASEAN liberalizations. The government used the principal guidance stipulated in the Indonesian Aviation Law 2009 and business practices guidance made by the ICAO on the economic regulations of the international air transport within the framework of national interest benefit to face the liberalizations in ASEAN, other regions, or also worldwide. Another important matters to be prepared and evaluate on the international traffic and cooperation with dialogue partners are the development of mutual understanding on international flight terminologies, such as the implementations of co-terminalizations and own stopover. Freedom of the air should be reformulated and harmonized with the liberalization trend to reach the same understanding without ignoring the international interests. In this case, I can give the example for the co-terminal and own stopover case. One airline stopped over in Bali. They disembarked the passengers and continue to Jakarta. But 1 month later, the next flight coming to Bali and carrying the previous passenger which 1 month before disembarked and now embarking to the aircraft and go to Jakarta. It's create confusing between the cabotage and the own stopover and termination. So that's why we have to formulate this case. We don't want the conflicting between own stopover and cabotage principle. So we, on the ASEAN level, we also propose to discuss on this matter. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion of the deregulations in Indonesia, we think that is must and need continuously effort, continuous actions to push and to encourage the growth of Indonesian air transport growth. And we sure that the yearly growth will still on the more than 15% up to next 5 years, as long as we can maintain our economic growth around 6 or 6.5%. And it's a commitment from the government to keep and to push our economic growth more than 6%. Thank you.